the solving of problems. And everybody's got a list of problems. Everybody. The rich merely ask for a longer list. But solving problems is a real challenge, and there's all kinds of problems: business problems, family problems, personal problems, financial problems, mental problems, emotional problems. We've all got these challenges, but that's the game of life, how to take it like it is and make it like you want it. How to turn resources into productivity, human resources, physical resources, solving problems. That's the challenge of life and lifestyle. See, the challenge is how to be happy with what you got. You got something. The next key is how can you be happy with it? It's a challenge. It's a problem. It needs to be solved. I met Neil Armstrong one time, first man to step his foot on the moon. Neat guy. I met him in Chicago. Neil Armstrong said, going to the moon was simply a matter of solving problems. That's the way he described it. The trip to the moon was just solving problems. So no telling where you can go if you solve the problems. No telling what kind of a journey you can take. Just solve the problems. Now, let me give you some keys on problem solving that really help to alter my life. Problem solving. First, work out your problems on paper, not just conversation and thinking. Put the problem on paper. You'll find if you're around us quite a bit, the evening seminar, these 2 days, any other context you might have with us, we're always talking about paper, journals, projects, books, learning to think on paper. And problem solving is the same thing. To solve a problem, simple. First, divide a piece of paper in half. On this side of the paper, state the problem. Just write it out. Now, you don't have to live on it or live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to stay on it. But you do have to state it. To make an intelligent decision, you need the accurate facts. You got to know what the problem is. So that's the first step. Just write it out. In some very simple language, here is the problem. I've got this and this and this, okay? Just make a statement of the problem. Now on this side, work out the answers. Okay? On paper, in your thinking process. Now to solve a problem, let me give you 3 questions to ask to solve any problem. 3 questions to ask to solve any problem. Now this is a process to go through. And you want to go through a process because here's what you want. Not just the solution to a problem. You want to become a problem solver. If you solve a problem, that's temporary. If you become a problem solver, that's permanent. It's like the old line of what's better, to have a fish or to learn how to fish. Right? It's much better to learn how to fish than it is to just be handed a fish. The same is true in sales. We teach in sales. Making a sale is temporary. Becoming a salesperson is permanent. Right? People who are just going for the next sale, live what's known as the temporary sales life. And they're always scrambling, simply because they don't become a salesperson, a persuader, by working hard on themselves. Okay? So what you want to become is a problem solver. And you do that by going through this process. First question is, what could I do? Okay, the first question to solve the problem is, what could I do to solve the problem? Now don't go beyond step 1 till you've thoroughly covered it. Then just make a list of some of the potential answers. Here's the first one, here's the second one, here's the third one. I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. Just start toying with some of the answers on the paper. Then, once you've got these put together, which is the best one? You say, well, this one would take too long. I need an answer a little quicker. I need to do it sooner. This one seems a little weak. This first one I thought of, that's probably the answer right there. Just work with it on paper, not in your mind. The best way to organize your thoughts is to write them down. It's a little difficult to just organize them in your mind. Organize answers in your mind. Come up with potential possibilities, options. You just got to write out your options on paper, my opinion. Now then, here's the second question to ask. Second question to solve a problem is, what could I read? It could very well be a book on the problem. Or if I went back through my journals, what could I read that might find an answer? Maybe you've got a problem that's got a section in the library. You just go to that section, start going through the books. Somebody else might have put a whole lifetime into trying to solve that particular problem, and they've written a whole book on it. Or there's several books on it. So that's a major question. What could I read? Okay, number 2. Here's the third question to solve a problem. Who could I ask? Now, don't go to number 3 till you've passed number 1 and number 2. And if you pass number 1 and number 2 to the best of your ability, and you've done your best to work it out, and you still don't have the answer, and time is critical, and you've got to get closer to the solution, then go to number 3 and ask. But let me tell you what knowledgeable people are always willing to do. Answer questions if they get the sense you've done your best to figure it out beforehand. You can't believe this sense you get from people. If you say, I've done this, I've been through this, and I've read this, and I've done all this, and I still can't come up with the answer, could you help me? Almost anybody unique would say, of course. Right? What is the question? Let me see if I can help you with it. If you've gone through this process. We all respond, first of all, to somebody else's effort. They just didn't come to us for some cheap, quick answer. As kids, we learn to do that, right? First, we proceed our request with what all we've already done. It's called the setup. My 2 daughters are unique. One of them is Linda. Linda loves to travel around the world. She's the world traveler. She's, 23 years old. She's been just, all kinds of places. We have this contest, see who can get where first around the world. Linda calls up, says, I beat you to Egypt. I said, okay. And she did. So I go to South Africa. I call her up and say, I beat you to South Africa. I said, okay. So we're always got this contest going. Anyway, Linda has got this unique strategy. She works hard putting money together, saving and plotting and scheming and working right, putting money aside, and she doesn't do this and doesn't do this right to get the money together to make one of these trips. One of them was to Thailand. She was going to go to Thailand for 2.5 months with a girlfriend of hers. Her girlfriend's family lived there. They were going to go spend a couple of months there. So Linda comes to me. She says, Dad, look, Susie and I are going to go to Thailand. I says, oh, wonderful. And she says, I've put this much money together. I've worked hard, I've saved, I've made all these arrangements, and she said, I've put aside $1,000. I say, well, congratulations. She said, I only need 2,000 more. That's right. But see, she worked on me so good for that first 1,000, right? And really she did. She worked hard. She put that first $1,000 together. But see, she knows I'll go for the 2 if she can give me a good story on the 1, okay? Now, see, we're all inclined to do that, right? When somebody says, I've done this, and I've done this, and I still need some help, and I think you can do it, we're ready to go for it. So, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Go for the answers. But don't bypass this just for the quick answer, because that won't give you the muscle. It won't give you the personal development. It won't give you the strength and the know-how to become a problem solver if you skip these 2 steps. So those are the 3 steps to solving problems. And once you become a problem solver, no telling what you can do with your business and your life and your social contact. No telling what you can do with what you've got for the rest of your life's journey. Solving problems, handling time, developing a good plan, and coming up with a good idea, and your chances are excellent for becoming successful. When I was in South Africa, I picked up this little saying by Arnold Bennett on time. And you won't have time to write it all down, but just let me read it for you. And it'll be on the set of cassettes that you're getting for the weekend. And it says, by Arnold Bennett, "Time is the inexplicable raw material of everything. With it, all is possible. Without it, nothing. The supply of time is truly a daily miracle, an affair genuinely astonishing when one examines it. You wake up in the morning and lo, your purse is magically filled with 24 hours of the unmanufactured tissue of the universe of your life. It is yours. It is the most precious of possessions. No one can take it from you. It is unstealable. And no one receives either more or less than you receive. In the realm of time, there is no aristocracy of wealth and no aristocracy of intellect. Genius is never rewarded by even an extra hour a day. And there is no punishment. Waste your infinitely previous commodity as much as you will, and the supply will never be withheld from you. Moreover, you cannot draw on the future. Impossible to get into debt. You can only waste the passing moment. You cannot waste tomorrow. It is kept for you. You cannot waste the next hour. It is kept for you. I have said the affair was a genuine miracle. Is it not? You have to live on this 24 hours of daily time. Out of it, you have to spend health, pleasure, money, content, respect, and the evolution of your immortal soul. Its right use, its most effective use, is a matter of the highest urgency and of the most thrilling actuality. All depends on that. Your happiness, the elusive prize that you are all clutching for, my friends, depends on that. If one cannot arrange that an income of 24 hours shall exactly cover all proper items of expenditure, one does muddle one's whole life indefinitely. We shall never have any more time. We have, and we have always had, all the time there is. Arnold Bennett. Well said.